Problem 32 says to use the distributive property and then combine like terms if needed. So distributive property, we would have negative 3 times y is negative 3y. Hopefully you're realizing that the distributive property is very important to Unit 2. Completing it accurately and keeping track of your integer rule signs is going to be important to getting correct solutions. Negative 3 times positive 4 would be a negative, so that would be negative 12. There's nothing to combine because I don't have any like terms, so that is as simplified as I can get with this problem. 33. Negative 1/2 times 12. Well, 1/2 of 12 is 6, and a negative times a positive is a negative, so that would give me negative 6x. Again, a negative times a negative is now a positive, so 1/2 of 4 is 2. So my solution would be negative 6x plus 2. And if you need to do the arithmetic off to the side, do the arithmetic off to the side so that you get the correct solution. Don't be lazy. Problem 34, we have negative 3 times y. It's negative 3y. Negative 3 times negative 4 would be plus 12. Now we have a second set of distribution that needs to take place. We have a negative 5 times y, which would be minus 5y, and a negative 5 times negative 2 would be plus 10. Be very careful and remember that these are negatives times negatives is positive. Negative 3y and negative 5y would be negative 8y. 12 plus 10 be plus 22. Now that we've refreshed distribution, let's work backwards. Problem 15 says to factor each expression, and factor was when we would look for a GCF that was present in both terms that could be factored out and leave us with a simplified expression inside parentheses. So here we want to look at 24 and 36. Well, I see that 12 goes into both of those terms. So I'm going to pull out a 12. If I divide negative 24x by 12, I would end up with negative 2x. And if I divided 36 by 12, I would end up with positive 3. So by factoring out the GCF of 12, I divide both terms by my GCF, and it leaves me with a simplified expression inside the parentheses. Number 36, negative 32x minus 8. Well, here I see that both terms are negative, so I can definitely factor out a negative, and both terms are divisible by 8. So I'm going to factor out a negative 8. And if I factor out a negative 8, then I ask myself negative 32x divided by negative 8. So a negative divided by negative is going to be a positive term. 32 divided by 8 then is 4x. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 is positive 1. So again, I have my GCF, negative 8, divided into both terms, gives me a simplified expression inside the parentheses. 37. Here I see that 9 goes into both terms. 9 goes into 81 9 times, and 9 goes into 27 3 times. But then 9 and 3 are also have a GCF of 3, so there must have been a greater GCF. So let's see, 27 goes into 27, and it looks like 27 times 3 is 81. So really my GCF for this problem is going to be 27 because 27 will go into both terms evenly. 27 goes into 81 3 times, so that would give me 3x. And 27 goes into 27 1 time, so 3x minus 1. Again, I have my GCF on the outside, a simplified expression inside the parentheses, and that would be my factorization for 81x minus 27. Problem number 38. Well, here, x to the third is the same as saying 7 times x, x, x. These are all being multiplied together. So 7 times x times x times x plus 21x. And right away I can see 7 goes into 21. I know that one pretty quickly. But then I also can see that I have 3 x's on this side and 1 x on the opposite with my 21 term. And so since I have an x in both terms, I can factor out an x in addition to a numerical value. So I'm going to factor out 7x. Well, if I divide 7 by 7, I get 1. And the same thing happens with one of my x's. X over x is also 1. And so that leaves me with just 2 x's remaining. It's not 2x, but rather x times x, which would be x squared. Plus 21 divided by 7 is 3. X over x is 1. So my simplified expression, I have my GCF of 7x. And my simplified expression would be x squared plus 3.